चल चलिए चल चलिए चल चलिए चल चलिए
बुल्ला फरीद जिथे रांझा ते हीर जिथे रहंदा कबीर जिथे चल चलिए
Kia ora tātou. Welcome, friends. This is Anu Kaloshi from Migrant Workers Association. With me, I have Bharti, also from Migrant Workers Association. We are live once again, and we, as we informed you last time, we've decided to do a bit of a series of sharing migrant stories with you all. As you all know, on 30th of September, the current government announced a one-off residence visa 2021. And after years and years of campaigning and hard work on part of many migrants, migrant workers, unions, workers associations, and several other organizations, opposition parties like the Green Party, and more recently other opposition parties as well, National Enact. We've had a huge outcome, a very good positive result for tens of thousands of migrants. So it's being said up to 165,000 migrants currently in New Zealand are likely to benefit from this one-off residence visa. However, at the same time, we are aware that a lot of people have been excluded. So as you all know, people on student visas currently will not be eligible. People on open work visas, partnership-based work visas do not qualify. And also thousands of migrants who remain stranded offshore will not be eligible, even though they meet the criteria of having lived in New Zealand for more than 3 years, being on the right sort of visas, earning $27 per hour or more, or their jobs being on some sort of scarce list. They will still not qualify because they are out of New Zealand. So this visa, you can only apply for it if you are onshore. So in other words, there are still a significant number of people who are hurting and who have unfairly, unjustifiably been left out of this visa category. So our work started the very minute this announcement was made on 30th of September, albeit that it is a huge victory for people who've been working for this, but at the same time, we do acknowledge and recognize that no person should be left behind. So you will have seen in the last 2-3 weeks several petitions doing the rounds. One of the biggest, Rachel Swan's petition, which had over 20,000 signatures and has already been presented to the petitions committee. So towards the end of today's show, we will have Rachel joining us live on Zoom, and we will get an update from her as to whereabouts her petition is and what we can expect next, and also all the hard work that goes into organizing something like that. So we will have Rachel with us towards the last part of the show. Before that, we are hoping to have two of our migrants with us sharing their stories, two people. Just like last week, we had two people who'd been excluded, and it was quite painful and quite emotional to listen to their stories and you know how people come here and work really hard and follow all the rules, abide by everything, and you know rules keep changing on them every 2-3 years. The rules change, and that kind of pushes people back to square one, back to where they had started, and the whole immigration journey starts again. And that's how people have been here on temporary visas for 5 years, 10 years in many cases. People have families here, children born here, and some of those people are not included in this. It's just crazy. It's bizarre. So today we will be. It was going to be 3 people, but one of our migrants has been called out to work at the last minute. She works in I think it's healthcare sector where. You can't say no in the current pandemic. When you are needed, you have to drop everything and go. Paramita, she was going to be my first guest at 7 p.m., but just a couple of hours ago, she messaged me to say, I'm really sorry, but I have been called to do a shift. So that's the kind of lives we lead as migrants, I guess, even though she was the first person to put her hand up, like, yes, I will come and join and I will share my story. But okay, more important stuff calls. Obviously more important in this pandemic and the health situation. But we'll have 2 other people. We'll have Piyush and we'll have Karsten joining us soon. Piyush, I believe, is on a partnership-based work visa, and Karsten is a PhD student. So we will soon have Piyush on air. We will call him soon. And I also want to share with you guys that we are trying to cover everybody who's been left out, including those who are offshore, so that people are hurting so badly and they are so frustrated and stressed out that normally I do this show once a week, but we will be going live again tomorrow. So we'll do a live Zoom session whereby we've already got a whole range, a group of people on a whole range of different visas. So they will be joining. We'll be live streaming tomorrow with them as a group, as a big group. I could. We could do this every day with several people going live, and I think we would still not be scratching the surface even. So there is a lot of work to be done, and I know there are several other petitions doing the rounds as well. Everybody, thank you very much, and keep up the good work, and keep doing whatever you can within your means. So we're in this together. We're all in this together. So we will replay our song and then call Piyush and be live with you again in a couple of minutes. Thank you. Welcome back, friends. We now have with us on the phone line, we have Piyush. Like I said, he is here on a partnership-based open work visa. And obviously, like many of you, Piyush is not eligible. His partner is not eligible for the one-off residency 2021. So we will get Piyush to share his situation with you. So welcome, Piyush.
Hi. Well, thank you, Anu, for giving me an opportunity. How are you? I hope.
I'm very well, thank you. And actually, thanks for your time and for your courage to put your hand up and share your story with the world. So we'll start with when you came to New Zealand and how you came here.
So yeah, as I've said, Anu has already mentioned that my name is Piyush. I came to New Zealand in 2015 on a student visa to study graduate diploma in business enterprise, the level 8 program. After completion of my course, I worked with various hospitality organizations in the country. I was employed by Hilton Hotels when the COVID hit in the peak in 2020, which adversely affected the tourism and hospitality industry. As a result of this, I was being made redundant from the Hilton, and Immigration New Zealand gave me 3 months to find another job. At that point in time, I was holding an essentials category visa, which was still valid for 3 years. Because of hospitality industry was badly affected, and no organization were hiring new employer because of the immigration has tightened the rules.
Yes.
I struggled to find right job to meet my visa requirement and condition. During this whole pandemic, I've applied more than 300 jobs.
Wow.
I have cracked few of the interviews, and I was being not successful. All the time, whenever I used to get back to my employee who has taken the interview and finding the solution and the feedback, I used to get to know that I'm still the right candidate, but they are not looking at the moment to support any of the immigration.
Right.
Or the migrant person.
Yeah. So
time was running out fast, and we were extremely stressed, underwent a lot of pressure and anxiety, and I had to find an alternative solution to stay in country.
Yeah.
Finally, my wife came up with the solution that she can study. She is already from the IT field, and she need to change her stream from programming and developing to the networking and cybersecurity. So she came up with the idea, why not I apply to the course, Masters in Information Technology, and I can continue, and that can make me as a dependent, where having a good background of 5 years of New Zealand experience, I also was having a right option. Okay, right now, due to whole pandemic, people are not supporting the immigrants because of the visa category. Then once I'm on a dependent open work visa, I can easily work anywhere. So we come from averagely a middle class family.
Yes.
And we had a lot of financial burden. Even that we decided, okay, let's go and take this risk. And we end up with paying 35,000 for the course, plus the living expenses, which is not countable. In Auckland. And my idea was, like I've said, to work hard and cover the cost of living. We just decided to go for this one because during that first wave of COVID, all the flights were being cancelled from going from New Zealand to India. So we could not able to travel as well. Our flight ticket were also being cancelled, and there was no another option being left. The Patrician flights were all going through as per the requirement, and all the emergency people or criteria people who has a health condition can only travel over there. We had mentioned our name over there, but we're not selected successful. Then I thought maybe it's an indicating from the God sign that we should not finish our path from the New Zealand. Let's go from here.
So that's quite a journey. Keep going.
We waited more than 6 months to get our visa successful and get it on our hand. But finally we got it. But the immigration officer was also nice. She said it to my wife that, sorry, first of all, that I have taken your file late because your course has just started 2 weeks ago. Is there any chance where you can submit, means you can, talk to your institute and get used to of it? And we were decided, no, we still can, survive in New Zealand for a few more months. Let's go with the fresh intake. We decided to go for the February intake. We got our visa for February 2021, and she started her course and during that time, my visa was changed from essential skill visa to the dependent.
Right. Okay. So
And
yeah. So your wife is still studying, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
she's still studying. She's part of a internship, and she is still working in the IT as well on the side by side. But yeah, that's how it has came, and we got this news.
Yeah.
We are still not eligible. Don't know why they have missed out our visa criteria,
Yeah.
where they during the time of the first time when the students are coming in,
Yeah.
they have it's the immigration who have made up the criteria. Only the graduate people, the people who are doing a graduation course for 3 years can support their partner.
Yes,
People
that's
who
right.
are doing a master's or
Yep.
PhD can support their partner. Then why not when they are eligible for the residency as well?
Exactly.
When
And
they are earning,
Yeah. Yeah.
when all the onshore people, and during this whole pandemic, it's not that borders were closed. It's only the onshore people or the migrant who were just struggling, and they have made it their move from changing their visa criteria.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you hadn't lost your job, you would still be on essential skills work visa, and you would be eligible because you've been here longer than 3 years, a lot longer than 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not your fault that you've had to change your visa, and I suppose being laid off work, given the COVID pandemic and how businesses are folding up again. Yeah. Perhaps not their fault either. So that should all have been taken into consideration, right? Yeah. And being given 3 months to find another job, and you're telling me you applied for 300 jobs. That in itself is cruel. No one should have to apply for that many jobs in such a short space of time.
And in the COVID period.
Well,
yeah.
During that 3 months, I have applied all over the New Zealand. It's not that only in one of the places. I have applied like Queenstown, Christchurch, Dunedin, Invercargill,
Everywhere.
Auckland, wherever it's possible. So I used to travel from Taupo to Auckland to do the interview.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. This is just absurd. And your wife, the subject she is doing her master's in, IT, and especially that has been so crucial in the last 18 months, with like most people using technology, working home, being online, even immigration putting more and more applications online. So that is such a critical area at the moment, or has been for the last 18 months.
That's a really critical situation, because why I kept myself in the hospitality field. I know it was been struggling, the hospitality field and everything. I still kept it because I have 5-6 years of experience, and which can help me to get my residency with the point base and with my pay as well. So at the moment, it's not that I'm earning less than $27. I can say I'm earning more than $27, and I can meet all the criteria. It's just the visa criteria is being missed out. We can't apply SMC, the skilled migrant residency as well, because it's been completely frozen from
suspended,
1.5 years. More than 1.5 years, I would say.
Yeah. So you are a classic example of migrants, come here, acquire meaningful qualifications, gain valuable experience based on skills, so that they can gather enough points to get residence through skilled migrant category, and they suspend that category, freeze invitations to application, and now this is a real kick in the guts that you don't, you're eligible in more than one ways, like you said, your pay rate, your length of stay here, the jobs that you and your wife are in, and yet you've been left out. It really is, it's sad. It really is sad. And like I mentioned in the introduction to this show, that a lot of groups, a lot of people have been working ever since this announcement was made. There are several petitions. So we will keep pushing, we will keep trying. And we really salute people like yourself, that you haven't given up, and you've always... You've done everything by the rules, and you are strong, and you're hanging on in there. So finally, what I want to ask you is, what message do you want to send out to migrants, especially who are going to be eligible and they will get residence? You know, what message do you want to give to them, and what do you want to request from this government?
Well, I just want to request to the government, is just consider the situation, and I'm not requesting them to change all of the criteria. No, I'm just requesting them to just consider the visa criteria to be added up. There are plenty of the people who have gone into the student visa and who are in the long time. Till now, the immigration were debating by not opening the borders that we need a skilled people. We need a skilled people. Where the skilled people are here.
Yes.
They have upscaled and they are still working, some of them. So why not them?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, even if
Should
even if they didn't consider student visa holders, they should. I mean, in your situation, you are a work visa holder, so you should be considered if your wife isn't.
That's clearly message. I'm just very straightforward. Immigration minister and the prime minister should consider the situation for all of the people who are on the regardless of student visa holder. There are the people on a special category visa who are on the IT field.
Absolutely.
So they are getting a special category of visa for the 5 years, and the skilled migrant visa is for the 3 years.
Yes.
If you are doing that rule, it's the immigration, it's the government who has tightened the rule to make it so hard that labor market test should be done. So I could not, request to my employer, we can go for a labor market test, because every 6 months you need to prove that you did not got a right candidate.
Yeah.
Which is a way harder.
Crazy.
Or I should go on my visa category, which is an open work visa, and my employer will be happy. Okay, you're doing a right job. You're working very hard. There have been times that you've been working 17 hours in a day, and you're doing a right job. Let's stick with this job only. Why would I change my visa criteria to the essential skill work visa, even after I can work anywhere in the country?
Exactly. Exactly. And a lot of people on essential skills work visas have been exploited. So from that perspective as well, it makes sense to be on an open work visa. So, if things go bad, then you have the option to change. So it makes sense to have people on open work visas, but not to punish them in this new residence category.
Especially during the whole pandemic, when none of the life is, or the career has been, it's completely uncertain. You never know. It might be an IT field, it might be on the retail field, that their job may be hit. After the first wave of COVID, there were plenty of the waves of the COVID has came. And during this time, it's in Delta variant. I'm still uncertain. I'm still working in hospitality. And I don't know if my job is still stable or not.
It's uncertainty. So the least this government can do is provide certainty by including all in this residence visa. That would be the right thing to do.
Seriously, yes, that would be the right thing, and that would be the honest and fair option. Till now, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern is always saying that we are all in one. Help us, be united. Then why they are dividing the category? I understand it's different category, but they should keep everyone as long as they are meeting the criteria.
Exactly.
Skilled migrant residency is also for everyone. It's not for only for the people who are on essential skill work visa. It's for everyone. If I'm on a partnership work visa, I'm earning more than $29, I can still be eligible if I'm on a skill migrant category or skill migrant list or the long-term skill shortage list.
Absolutely right. We agree with you 100%, and like I said, we will keep trying our best for people like yourself and others. Listen, thank you very much for taking time out and sharing your story, and please stay strong and stay safe.
Thanks, Piyush.
I really appreciate, Anu, that you've given me the opportunity to speak. And it's not my story. There are plenty of the migrants who has the similar story, and I'm just representing on behalf of them. Unfortunately, it's also my story, and really thank you for it.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
You too.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਰੋਤੇ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੁਣ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਦੋਸਤ ਬਾਕੀ ਮੁਲਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੁਣ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਸੋ ਦੋਸਤੋ ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਟ੍ਰੈਜਡੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਸੀ ਕਾਮੇ ਨੇ, ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਨੇ, ਭਾਰਤ ਦੀਆਂ ਹਾਲਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਲੰਘ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਚੰਗੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਬਿਤਾਉਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਮੁਲਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਿਲਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਖ਼ਤਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਰਹੀਆਂ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਸਰਕਾਰਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੀਤੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਇਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੀਆਂ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਵਸਤੂ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਵਰਤਿਆ ਜਾਵੇ ਕਾਮਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਅਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਕੰਮ ਨਿਕਲ ਗਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੁਲਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਸੁੱਟਿਆ ਜਾਵੇ। ਸੋ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਰੀਸੈਂਟਲੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ਼ਰ ਪਿਆ, ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਯੂਨੀਅਨ ਨੇ, ਕਾਮਿਆਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਯੂਨੀਅਨ ਨੇ ਰਲ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਸਰਕਾਰ 'ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ਼ਰ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਜਿੱਤ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 1,65,000 ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲਗਭਗ ਲੋਕ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਕਾਮੇ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਸੀ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੱਕੇ ਹੋਣ ਦਾ ਮੌਕਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਪਰ ਉਹਦੀ ਨਾਲ ਦੀ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੋਰ ਕੈਟਾਗਰੀਆਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ, ਬੜਾ ਇੱਕ ਗੁੰਝਲਦਾਰ ਜਿਹਾ ਮਸਲਾ ਇਹ ਬਣ ਚੁੱਕਿਆ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੁਆਲੀਫਾਈ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਪਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਕੋਰਸ ਕੋਈ ਨਵਾਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਕੈਟਾਗਰੀ ਵੱਖਰੀ ਹੋ ਗਈ, ਔਰ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਕੋਈ ਰਸਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ ਰਹਿ ਗਿਆ, ਮਜਬੂਰੀ ਬਸ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹਾਇਰ ਸਟੱਡੀ ਜਾਂ ਫਰਦਰ ਸਟੱਡੀ ਲੈਣੀ ਪਈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ,
ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਪੱਕੇ ਹੋਣ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਰਸਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਦਿਖਾਇਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ। ਔਰ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੀ ਟ੍ਰੈਜਡੀ ਵਾਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ, ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਕਾਮੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ, ਔਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਾਮੇ ਫਸੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰਕ ਕਾਰਨਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਨੂੰ ਵਿਜ਼ਿਟ ਕਰਨ ਗਏ, ਜਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਵਿਦਿਆਰਥੀ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਸੀਗੇ, ਆਪਣਾ ਪੂਰੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪੂੰਜੀ ਘਰਦਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਇਨਵੈਸਟ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੋਈ ਸੀਗੀ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਭਾਰਤ ਕਿਸੇ ਕਾਰਨ ਗਏ ਅਤੇ ਕੋਵਿਡ ਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਫਸ ਗਏ। ਸੋ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰੂਲ ਪਾਸ ਕੀਤਾ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਵੱਡੇ ਲੈਵਲ 'ਤੇ ਭਲਾ ਹੋਇਆ, ਪਰ ਉਹ ਉਸ ਕੈਟਾਗਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਏ ਹੈਗੇ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਸਾਡਾ ਹੁਣ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪੜਾਅ ਆ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਸੀ ਕਾਮਿਆਂ ਦਾ, ਜਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਸੀ ਵਿਦਿਆਰਥੀ ਨੇ, ਇਹ ਦੂਸਰਾ ਪੜਾਅ ਸਾਡਾ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਸ਼ਾਮਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਨੂ ਜੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੀੜਤ ਨੇ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨੋਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ, ਅਤੇ ਔਨ ਸ਼ੋਰ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੇ, ਆਫ ਸ਼ੋਰ ਵਾਲੇ, ਪਿਛਲੇ ਹਫ਼ਤੇ 3 ਦਿਨ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ 4 ਦਿਨ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਦੇ ਜੰਤਰ ਮੰਤਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਮੁਜ਼ਾਹਰਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀਤਾ, ਬੜੀ ਮਿਹਨਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਉੱਥੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ਼ਰ ਪਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਪਟੀਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਥਰੂ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕੋਵਿਡ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ, ਕੋਈ ਇੱਥੇ ਮੁਜ਼ਾਹਰਾ ਰੈਲੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ, ਸਰਕਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ਼ਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਣਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ।
ਔਰ ਬੀਤੇ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਗਰੁੱਪ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜਿਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਲਾਇਰਸ ਔਰ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਐਡਵਾਈਜ਼ਰਸ ਨੇ, ਔਰ ਹੋਰ ਗਰੁੱਪਸ ਦੇ 1-2 ਲੋਕ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਰਿਪਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਸੈਪਰੇਟਿਡ ਫੈਮਲੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ। ਸੋ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕ੍ਰਿਸ ਫਾਫੋਈ, ਕ੍ਰਿਸ ਹਿਪਕਿੰਸ ਅਤੇ ਫਿਲ ਟਵਾਈਫਰਡ, ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ, ਡੈਪੂਟੀ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਔਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੋਵਿਡ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੈਟਰ ਲਿਖੀ ਗਈ ਹੈ, ਓਪਨ ਲੈਟਰ, ਕਿ ਉਹ ਸੁਝਾਅ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਸਾਰੇ, ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, ਬੋਥ ਔਨ ਸ਼ੋਰ ਆਫ ਸ਼ੋਰ, ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਟੁੱਟੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੀਯੂਨਾਈਟ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ। ਔਰ MIQ ਦਾ ਬਹਾਨਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕੁਆਰੰਟੀਨ 'ਚ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ, ਸੋ ਕੋਟਾ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕਰਨ ਐਲੋਕੇਟ। ਸੋ ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਉਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਾਈਗਰੈਂਟ ਵਰਕਰ ਐਸੋਸੀਏਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਪੇਜ 'ਤੇ ਵੀ ਦੇਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਉਹ ਓਪਨ ਲੈਟਰ। ਤੋ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਔਨ ਸ਼ੋਰ ਲੋਕ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ। ਸੋ ਉਹ ਐਕਸਪਲੇਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਕਈ ਤਰੀਕਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਮ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਆ, ਔਰ ਕਈ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ 'ਚ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਕੈਟੇਗਰੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਹਰ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ 'ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਇਨਕਲੂਡ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਇੱਕ ਸਟ੍ਰੈਟਜੀ ਹੈ। ਪਰ ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੋਰ ਰਸਤਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਥਰੂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਨਕਲੂਡ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਸੋ ਅਲੱਗ-ਅਲੱਗ ਫੇਜ਼ ਨੇ। ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਇੰਨੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲਿਟਲ ਪੀਸ ਐਟ ਅ ਟਾਈਮ ਡੀਲ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਆ। ਸੋ ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅਗਲੇ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ ਨੇ, ਮੇਰਾ ਖਿਆਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਭਾਰਤੀ ਜੀ ਆਪਾਂ। ਹਾਂਜੀ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਜੀ। ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਸੋ ਇਹ ਗੀਤ ਦੇ ਦੌਰਾਨ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕਾਸਟਨ। ਸੋ ਵੀ ਵਿਲ ਟਰਾਈ ਟੂ ਕਾਲ ਕਾਸਟਨ, who is a PhD student.
चल चलिए चल चलिए चल चलिए चल चलिए
बुल्ला फरीद जिथे रांझा ते हीर जिथे रहंदा कबीर जिथे चल चलिए
Welcome back, friends. We have with us on the telephone line, we have Karsten with us, and Karsten is on a student visa and a PhD student here since 2017. So I guess I'll hand it over to Karsten and let him tell his story. So welcome to the show, Karsten.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight.
You're welcome, and thank you for giving up your time. And I guess we'll start at the beginning. When and how did you arrive in New Zealand?
Right. So I arrived in New Zealand in June 2017. I came from Germany.
Right.
I was about to finish my bachelor degree in energy and water management at the German university, and part of the study was an internship, and I decided to come to New Zealand and finish my study here. So I went to the University of Otago in Dunedin,
right,
and found a project that I've been working on since then.
Right.
And back then I was on a working holiday visa, and then when I submitted my thesis and I got back the results, I think my family and I decided that the next logical step was to continue the master's study here in Dunedin.
Okay.
So after my study was confirmed, I switched to a student visa for my master's. So that was 1 year for my research master's. I got the grades back again, and then was offered the PhD scholarship.
Right.
So
excellent. That's very good. Yep. I'm interested in like energy and water management. That is such a, given the global warming and the climate crisis, that is such an important area at present for anybody and all countries in the world. And here, as you will know, some of our Pacific islands will drown soon. The water level will rise so much. So your topic is critical. And all other adjectives I can't think of at the moment. But yeah, it's absolutely key to have research like that here, so that we can put in some measures and not have dramatic sort of changes to our climate. So I'll let you carry on. I feel quite passionate that we have someone doing such important research and yet we have not included them, and we don't want to keep them here. It's absurd.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Maybe I can elucidate a little bit more about my study.
Yeah, please do.
So my bachelor degree laid the foundation for my master's, which focused on residential household appliances and how, for instance, a hot water cylinder in households could help us meeting winter evening electricity demand.
Excellent.
So to facilitate grid stability and less use of fossil fuel generation from Huntley.
Yeah.
So that's a coal power station in the North Island. And then for my PhD research, I now focus on solar, photovoltaic, and batteries in New Zealand. So in residential households again, and how the adoption of solar and batteries changes the energy culture and the energy consumption behavior in the households, and then what impact this has on the electricity grid. So that's what I'm researching at the moment.
Absolutely the way of the future. And here in New Zealand, like we have so much sunshine, so solar is the way to go, and along with wind and geothermal and all the rest of it, cleaner energy sources. So I think I can't stress enough how important it is for this work to keep going. Sorry, please keep going with your your journey, immigration journey here.
So from there, I published several papers. They were peer reviewed, and they're all focusing on how we could prepare New Zealand's electricity grid for future electricity demand when we change to 100% renewable electricity generation by 2030, and then by 2050 having a net zero carbon economy with electrification of transport and industry. So how can we meet this increase in electricity demand? So I've been working for the Dunedin City Council as well on research projects together with the Department of Physics here at the university. And so I've been doing side projects alongside the PhD, which is kind of nice.
Right, very good. And of course, being a PhD student is different to being like undergrads and other courses that you guys are allowed to work full time and you are like work visa holders, not just on a student visa, right?
Yes, that's correct. And I suppose it's more the name that makes me a student, really. I mean, I'm currently working, I think, 25 hours a week.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm not quite earning $27 an hour.
Yeah.
Just because I'm doing the PhD at the same time.
Right.
And it's like a research assistant job at the physics department.
Right.
But I'm still, if I would put this, what I'm doing into a category, it would be on the scarce list as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm meeting the criteria with the 3 years and the scarce list.
Yeah.
But I'm still not eligible. Maybe just on a personal note, I think that it would be really nice for migrants to have this opportunity to apply for this residence visa. I think it's part of being acknowledged as part of the community to be a resident.
Yep.
Just having the right to vote, the right to invest in property, just to be part of this country, really.
Yeah.
It provides certainty for the future. So I haven't encountered such a stressful time in terms of planning ahead. Than I did for the last 4 years. It's always from visa to visa.
Yeah.
And it's never quite sure whether I meet the requirements to stay in New Zealand, which is now my new home, basically.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And
so you have your family here too, or are you by yourself?
no, I'm just by myself.
Okay.
I'm 25 now. I came over to New Zealand when I was 21.
Right. And and that's some of your, prime years, and you've got these skills and your research. It contributes tremendously to this country, and I would say it puts New Zealand on international stage with this kind of research. It's world class.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand what the intention of Immigration New Zealand is in this regard, because when I don't really have certainty of staying here, I might have to look at other opportunities. So either go back to Germany or to a different country and apply my knowledge and skills that the New Zealand government has paid for in terms of the PhD scholarship over there, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah, it would be such a shame to lose someone like yourself. And also a lot of researchers do then become academics, and they teach at universities and tertiary institutes, and we would be creating clones of you, I guess, if we were to keep you here should you go into teaching. Not only
I'm already teaching.
Cool. Yeah.
Sometimes, so I'm teaching in German, so that's an online course that I'm doing at nighttime, basically from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning to fit the German time zone.
Right.
And then I'm also teaching here in New Zealand. Yeah.
Excellent. I mean, but whichever way I look at your situation, it does not make sense to me to let go of you. This country needs to keep you, and it's crucial. I mean, the way I see it, all humans are equal. That's my dictionary. But if I was to put myself in the shoes of this government or Immigration New Zealand and look at the skills and all the rest of it, it makes perfect sense to keep people like yourself here. So like I said in the beginning, we will keep fighting, we will keep campaigning to make sure that we're able to get this new residence visa category extended to everybody who's here. These are people who are already here. We're not asking for more people to be brought in. That's always a concern for certain parts of the society here. These migrants are going to take over the houses and cause traffic jams and what have you. But excuse me, we are already here. So
yes,
yeah.
And it's not like I mean, this is a one-off opportunity, so it only affects the people that have been here already. And also Immigration New Zealand always talks about like this immigration reset and the change from low-skilled migrants to highly skilled ones. And I think they kind of forget that these people are already here.
Yes.
They just have to open their eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's the right thing to do. And like that they've, by bringing in this one-off visa, residence visa, that they've already they've delivered to most of the migrants who are here, and it's just they just need to do a little bit more, and we're there, we're home.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I do acknowledge that there's other pathways for residency after I finish my PhD. I mean, I can apply for a post-study work visa again, like I did after my master's, but it's not very certain that I will attain residency in the near future. So.
And like you said, it's just a one-off. It's not as if, they will keep repeating this. So why not include everybody in a one-off? So it makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what I want to ask at the end is that, is there anything else you want to share, or, is there a plea or a request that you want to send out to the government through our platform here at all?
Yeah, I would like to ask the government just to treat everyone fairly, and everyone would like to stay in New Zealand that is applying for these residence visas, and these people would still have to meet the criteria. It's not like they would be included without having to meet criteria. So, I think it's time to reflect the team of 5 million also in immigration policy. And I would just like to encourage everyone else to do their own part, and then together we can make an impact. And I would also like to thank you guys for the job you're doing. And I'm confident that we'll attain something. I'm not quite sure whether we will be able to change the current immigration policy, but at least from what I already read in the newspapers and media, we already make an impact, which is great.
Sure.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And I like the positivity you've got. Keep it like that, and it's quite infectious, so it gives hope to other people as well. Thank you, Karsten.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
You too. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਅਨੂ ਜੀ, ਇਹ ਮੈਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਕਦੇ।
ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀ। ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਕਾਸਟਨ ਜਰਮਨੀ ਤੋਂ ਨੇ, ਔਰ ਬੜੀ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲਾਈਜ਼ ਸਬਜੈਕਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ PhD ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਪ੍ਰਵਾਸੀ ਨੇ, ਔਰ ਮਤਲਬ ਸਾਡੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੇ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੰਦੇ 'ਚ ਇੱਕੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਐਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜਰਮਨੀ ਦੇ ਇੰਜੀਨੀਅਰ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਮੰਨੇ ਗਏ ਨੇ। ਨਿਊਜ਼ੀਲੈਂਡ ਨੂੰ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਕਿ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਬੰਦੇ ਇਸ ਮੁਲਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈ ਆ। ਸਾਰਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਐਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਬਰਾਬਰ, ਇਹ 'ਚ ਕੋਈ ਸ਼ੱਕ ਨਹੀਂ। ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ UK ਪੜ੍ਹਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਉੱਥੇ ਐਕਸਚੇਂਜ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਜਰਮਨੀ ਦੇ ਇੰਜੀਨੀਅਰ ਵੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਨ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ। ਸੀਰੀਅਸਲੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫਰਕ ਦੱਸ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ UK ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 3 ਜਾਂ 4 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਡਿਗਰੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ, ਉੱਥੇ ਡਿਗਰੀ ਲੈਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਘੱਟੋ ਘੱਟ ਉਹਨੂੰ 7-8 ਸਾਲ ਪੜ੍ਹਨਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਸੀ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹ ਡਿਗਰੀ ਉਦੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਪੂਰਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇੰਡਸਟਰੀਅਲ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਹੈ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਕੰਪਲੀਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ।
ਵੈਰੀ ਗੁੱਡ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਯੂ ਮੇਕ। ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਰਨ ਇੰਸਟੀਟਿਊਸ਼ਨਸ ਨੇ, ਟ੍ਰੇਡਸ ਦੇ, ਅਪ੍ਰੈਂਟਿਸਸ਼ਿਪਸ ਦੇ, ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੀ ਨੇ। ਆਈ ਐਮ ਜਸਟ ਗੋਇੰਗ ਟੂ ਰਿਕਾਲ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਐਡਵਾਈਸ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੀ ਹਾਂ, ਸੋ ਉਹਦੇ ਥਰੂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਰੀਸੈਂਟਲੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਫੋਰੈਸਟਰੀ 'ਚ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਲੌਗਿੰਗ। ਸੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਲਾਈਕ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ 6-7 ਸਾਲ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ, ਉਹ ਮਤਲਬ ਹਾਈ ਸਕੂਲ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਲੰਬਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਫੋਰੈਸਟਰੀ ਦਾ ਡਿਪਾਰਟਮੈਂਟ ਸਮਝ ਲਓ ਤੁਸੀਂ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ, ਉਹ ਬਕਾਇਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਟ੍ਰੇਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਕੁਆਲੀਫਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ, ਔਰ ਇੰਟਰਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਂਡਸ ਔਨ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ। ਹਾਂਜੀ। ਸੋ ਉਹ ਦੈਟ ਮੀਨਸ ਅ ਲੋਟ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪੂਰਾ ਤਿਆਰ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹ ਭੇਜਦੇ ਆ, ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ ਸਿਖਾ ਕੇ।
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਜੀ। ਨਾਲੇ ਦੂਸਰੀ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰੀਏ ਕਿ ਜਰਮਨੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਪੂਰੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ, ਇੱਕ ਸਿੰਗਲ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਪੈਸਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਖਰਚਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ। ਪ੍ਰਾਇਮਰੀ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ PhD ਜਦੋਂ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੱਕ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਨਾ, ਉਸ ਮੁਲਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਫ੍ਰੀ ਹੈ। ਇਕੱਲਾ ਉਸ ਮੁਲਕ ਦੇ ਬਸ਼ਿੰਦਿਆਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ, ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਓਵਰਸੀਜ਼ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਕੰਡੀਸ਼ਨ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਸਿੱਖਣੀ ਪਊਗੀ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਟੈਸਟ ਹੋਊਗਾ, ਪਰ ਈਵਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਓਵਰਸੀਜ਼ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਵੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਫ੍ਰੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਮੁਲਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਡਿਮਾਂਡ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਟਾਈਮ ਟੂ ਟਾਈਮ,
ਫॉर all, not just ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੇ ਲੋਕ। So I just wanted to say, like, the image of an international student that most people have is like from a third world country where people may not know how to speak English, and all sorts of connotations, and and to a large extent, many of the students have been coming to substandard colleges and schools, which were allowed to mushroom during national parties. So what I'm saying is, like, you've just met somebody who breaks all of those stereotypes. So I'm just saying, let's not go by stereotypes. So what we're going to do is like play our song again and sort out Zoom in the meantime. And we are going to be joined by Rachel Swan on Zoom very, very soon. So just bear with us while we sort out our technology.
रोटी दियां कतारां तो परे
hello, friends. We have Rachel Swan with us on Zoom. As you will all know, there was a petition started like minutes after the announcement for the new one-off residence visa was made on 30th of September. And that petition was on change.org asking for many other categories of visas to be included in that. So that was started by Rachel, and it got something like 22,000 signatures. So I'm going to let Rachel tell the rest of the story, you know, how we did that and where we are. Welcome, Rachel, to today's show.
Thanks, guys. Nice to see you both after so long.
I know. We usually meet at Unite Union office or at protests. It's been a long time since we met in person, but that's how things go.
It has.
Yeah. So, firstly, thanks for joining us. I know you've had a lot of media recently, which we all do from time to time. Share with our viewers and listeners, why did you start that petition, and why start it like as soon as you did?
Anu, sorry.
Hello. I was just saying, tell our viewers why you started the petition and why start it like so soon after the announcement.
Yeah, so I started the petition so soon after announcement for a number of reasons. It was soul crushing to see the announcement after kind of standing with everybody for so long in the protests and attending the meetings and kind of, you know, being a part of the work that has, and, you know, I do want to acknowledge that this is an amazing result for so many people. And, you know, super grateful and proud of you guys for achieving that. It was just really hard to then, you know, not be a part of that. So that was the first thing. The first reason that I started the petition, but this kind of goes a little bit deeper and a little bit further back than that, really. And I just want to touch on what you said earlier about people who excluded have ended up on these excluded visas for a number of reasons. And one of those being seen with Immigration New Zealand for quite a long time. So, for example, when the work to residency visa salary threshold changed from 55,000 to 79,500. Personally, I missed out on being eligible for that by 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So then I ended up on a essential skills visa, which is fine. And then a number of things happened and went on to an open working visa to be able to progress my career and earn more and gain points for the skilled migrant category and such. The petition when we saw that we weren't eligible, because as you know, many other people who've spoken today and who I've been speaking to over the past few weeks have done everything right, have done everything by the book, have done everything that the government have been encouraging us to do in terms of upskilling, in terms of, you know, earning salaries at that higher wage threshold point, which is another change that has been made in terms of the median wage going up from $25.50 to $27 an hour through a pandemic. But also then that kind of like high wage threshold going up from 106,000 to 112,000, which made it really unattainable for many. So I started this for all those who have done everything right, but have still been excluded. You know, the government have come out and said that this one-off residency visa is to acknowledge the enormous contribution that migrants have made throughout COVID-19, you know, to the country and to supporting the country and to keeping the country going to be in the position that we are now. And it's a huge slap in the face to everybody excluded that has been part of that contribution.
Exactly.
To then be told that, yes, thank you for your contribution, but no thanks, find another way, especially considering those other pathways, such as the skilled migrant category, which the you know, EOI is still suspended from being selected. The work to residency visas are closing, so that's no longer going to be a pathway anymore. So even though we're being told, oh, there's other pathways like, you know, hard luck, but try again, how? None of these pathways are open to us right now. So I started this to give everybody an equal opportunity who meets one of these three criteria that the government have laid out. When you apply to, as somebody said earlier, when you apply to the skilled migrant category, it doesn't matter what visa you're on. It matters what job you hold, how many points you have, how much you earn. So I don't understand why then when they're doing this one-off residency visa, why you would then be eligible based off your visa category. To another point that Chris Farfoy makes in a lot of his copy-paste emails that he's sending in reply to people who are contacting him, in that, student visas are short-term visas. And the point of the visa is to study and then go home. Why then do we offer a post-study work visa if students are just short-term here to study and then to go back to their own country and carry on with their life elsewhere? It's not well thought through. It holds a lot of gaps and it omits a lot of these skilled, scarce and settled. That's the other one. Yes, thank you.
Three S's.
Many of these people have been here for a long time. For myself and Philip, and for those of you that are watching that don't know, the four of us do kind of know each other outside of this online platform. So for myself and Philip, we hit 2 of those 3 categories, both of us. So we've been here for more than 3 years and we earn more than $27 an hour. Philip is a PhD student studying big data and kind of the how you make sure that you have clean data, which is obviously something quite important in today's world where so much data is held online all the time. So, I think and that's not just with PhD students, that's with people who are bachelor students, who are master's students. They're coming here to study to improve themselves, but they're also, by improving themselves, improving their contribution to society. And I actually think that's something that should be commended and celebrated and rewarded rather than punished, which is how this is kind of perceived. Also for those offshore, it's not their fault that the border closed. It's not their fault that we're only allowing citizens and permanent residents to come back through. There are a whole heap of issues with only letting citizens and permanent residents through, not least that citizens and permanent residents are not the only people with families. They're not the only people who experience family emergencies and death and things like that. But again, that's a kind of separate issue. But so the petition is for everybody. If you meet those criteria and you hold a visa for New Zealand, or your visa has expired offshore through no fault of your own because you've been locked out of the country, you should be eligible for this. It's a lot of people have made decisions based on the pandemic and based on doing the best to remain legal in New Zealand through difficult circumstances. People have lost jobs and decided to study. People have lost jobs, so jumped on their partner's visa so that they can continue working and providing for their families. I think it's very short-sighted to dismiss that and minimize that. So we made that petition. It got an enormous amount of support very, very quickly.
Well done.
That was very good.
Very good, Rachel.
which was partly the result of me going into every single group post, education institution, and like commenting on every single thing that they did with the petition. But it got a lot of support internationally as well in terms of take, for example, I sent it to my parents and my parents sent it to their friends and their friends sent it to their friends, and it kind of ballooned that way.
It was good.
So it was submitted to Parliament yesterday.
Before that, it was handed over to Ricardo Menendez-March from the Greens.
Yes. So Ricardo has supported us in submitting the petition to Parliament. So that has gone in. Just in case anybody hasn't seen my post on the Facebook group, it's been submitted to Parliament, and it does say on the submission that there is only one signature. Please don't be alarmed by that. It's just for the purpose of the official submission. The petition committee will recognise the 21,500 signatures that we do have. It's just because it was on an external platform that it's been submitted in that way. So the next steps from here, and I know Ricardo touched on this when we went and did the live handover for the petition. So this term of government is the first time that there has been a petitions committee, and that's where all the petitions go. So they go into the petitions committee and they will ask me to make a written submission in support of that petition. So that's something that I will work on, and I will share updates on once it is finalized and appropriate to do so. That will then, we are not sure at this point how far it will go. So it could be that MB are asked to respond, the Ministry of Business, Innovation and
Employment.
Whatever the E stands for.
Employment.
That's it, thank you. It could, they'll ask Chris Farfoy to respond. I do just want to kind of bring to light something that was posted by Erica Stanford earlier in that she has, she tabled something to get a committee to consider the impact of the border closure on migrants, and that included the exclusions of certain people from the one-off 2021 residency visa category. And the Labour members within that committee have universally voted to indefinitely defer that discussion, which does tell you how unwilling they are to consider the impact that these things have had on people who are not Kiwis on paper, because I think actually, a lot of people who are on work visas would actually consider themselves part of that Kiwi family and the team of 5 million. So I think, my message to the government, to Chris Farfoy, to Phil Twyford, to Jacinda Ardern, is that we have done an enormous amount of work through the pandemic, no matter where we are from, no matter what visa we hold. We are part of this team of 5 million, and we deserve the same kind of kindness that this government has been asking the entire country to expand to each other. And I think, those excluded migrants, including the students, the partnership holders, the specific purpose work visas, working holiday visas, if they meet that criteria, they deserve to benefit from that same kindness.
Absolutely.
I think it would be very hypocritical to ask people to be kind and then not be kind to these migrant workers. So that's my message,
Well said.
and what I would like to see from the sitting government in changes before the full policy comes out at the end of December. That is what we want to see. We want to see a good, clear policy that encompasses everybody who meets the 3 criteria laid out to back up the kindness that this government has been asking for from its constituents and its people. So that is my message to this government. So in terms of next steps, we will keep you updated as soon as we have things to tell you. I appreciate there is a want to go out on the streets. I hear you. I've been there for most of the marches that we've done, and I've been there for most of the preparation that we've done for them as well. I hear you. I understand. Half of this battle is optics, and I think that's something that people do really need to understand, that there is a difference between people meeting up and going to a restaurant with their friends and family in level 2. They're not asking for anything from the government by going out for a meal. If we go and stand on the streets, we are asking for something from the government, and that brings critique, and we can't afford to have that negative critique of the excluded migrants, because that would only hurt our cause. So I hear you, I understand. We're in a very difficult situation with the pandemic, and we do have to do what's best for the country that we want to call home. So please, 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 the likes of Anu and Cher and, everybody who's been involved in these kind of movements for a really long time have also shared their thoughts on this. So just to kind of back that up and reiterate that, we will do something as soon as we are able to, but not until it's safe.
It's just not worth risking people's visas, I guess, even though I understand, like level 2 cities and towns, they can have gatherings of up to 100, and even if councils provide you permission to do so, just because you've got permission, it does not mean like it is the right thing to do. Like Rachel, you said, a lot of this is also optics. So when we see in Auckland the anti-vaxxers taking to streets and doing protests and like the whole
He got
crowd
arrested
with
today.
Brian Tamaki who got arrested today. Okay, it's level 3, but we don't want to be seen in the same light as those
absolutely.
anti-vaxxers, totally unscientific people. So yeah, we want to do, we want to take actions that actually add to this campaign and to fight, not actually take away and detract from it. So yeah, we want to protest, but not until it's safe to do so and it's the right time. So yeah, it is a very, very tricky and difficult situation. You know, here you've got a group of people between, like, if I look at other team members who organize with us, I was just counting the other day, between like about 6-7 of us, we've got about 150 years of experience put together as activists. So you've got that crowd stopping you from protesting. You know, we are usually the first to say, okay, this is the time to take to streets. So yeah, what I'm saying is that we must be saying something right, I guess, with 150 years worth of experience of activists. So yeah, that is the first thing we'll do as soon as we are able to.
Yeah. And also just one final point to kind of reiterate that even if somebody's speaking out about offshore migrant workers, it doesn't mean that they're not supporting onshore migrant workers, and vice versa.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
You know, there are important points to be raised, and we can support both at the same time, but they do both have separate kind of sensitive issues that need to be addressed. So, you know, even if somebody's not active on social media all the time, they are still, you know, it doesn't mean that they've stopped working and they've stopped caring. If somebody's talking about their specific story and they might hold a specific visa category, it doesn't mean that they're only campaigning for that specific visa category. It just means that that's their personal situation, and they just want to, just because they have a face to this doesn't mean that that's the only visa category that they're fighting for. And I think, you know, it's important to remember that, you know, the people who have the chance to tell their stories, and people like myself whose kind of names and faces are plastered all over these kind of movements, our own stories don't mean that we don't support people who aren't in the same situation as we do. We're just using our voice to share what we are personally going through, as well as what everybody else is going through.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I do notice sometimes a little bit of that. So I think INZ does a good job of dividing us up into visa categories. Let's not do the same. Our job is to stay together, stay focused. So let's not think in visa categories. We're all human beings at the end of it. So yeah, and the committee that you mentioned, I think your petition will most likely go to the Education and Workforce Select Committee. That's where I think they deal with immigration side of things. That's where
I believe so.
Our petition went as well. So and you know the fact. So this is actually the downside of having a majority political party government. So because Labour has, I think, 64 seats, which is a majority. So all of the select committees have a majority of Labour Party MPs, you know, while these committees are cross-party, but more than half the members in these committees are from the Labour Party. So it is easy for them to just roadblock things if they want to. And yeah, let's hope it doesn't.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing that people want to see from the government. I think a reply of, oh, well, you know, it's due to your visa being short term is not a good enough response. You know, it's not a considered response in terms of situations of that person has been here for 11 years, but has now found themselves on a student visa. Why are you not considering them settled? Just to say that your current visa is a short-term visa is not a good enough response to give a reason as to why you are not allowing somebody to settle in a country that they've lived in for over 10 years. They need, if they're going to stick to their current party line, they need to come up with some solid reasoning and some well thought through explanations rather than a copy paste response to people who are reaching out kind of feeling quite desperate. So I think that's also another part of it, that you know, if there were good reasons, I don't think anybody would, you know, be as upset as they are now. They may well still be disappointed, but if there were well thought out, reasoned arguments and then also a clear pathway again afterwards, people may not be as upset. So I think that's also something we need to consider as a movement, that we cannot guarantee that this government are going to change their minds. You know, we can do the petitions and submissions and protests, you know, when it's safe and all of that, but we can't guarantee that it will change. So, you know, people do, I know it's not what people want, but I think, you know, people do have to consider that if they are going to say, okay, well, there's another pathway, they need to then tell us what that is and not make people sit in limbo for another year for the skilled migrant category to reopen.
Exactly. You know, very well said. I'm mindful of your time.
Yes, yours too.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll be seeing each other again tomorrow at 7 p.m. because there's like everybody is so eager to share their stories, their concerns. So we kind of decided that we will do a live Zoom live stream tomorrow from the same platforms that we are on today. So that we've got already quite a large group of people. So I thought rather than phone each person individually, we'll have them as a group on Zoom. And also it's easier in terms of technology. It's easier for us to deal with. So we'll see each other again at 7 p.m. tomorrow.
Yes, I look forward to that. Thank you, guys.
See you, Rachel. Bye-bye.
Thank you, and thanks for all the hard work you've done. Thank you.
And you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So I'm thinking before we wrap up and say goodbye, maybe we can read some of the comments and answer any questions.
I think
is there
it's
anything?
mostly...
I think there were one or two questions that I saw in there.
I think it's just people are... desperate. So we see these comments repetitively. Nothing wrong with them.
I guess that's
we
fine.
Understand your pain, and again, onshore, offshore, student.
We're all together.
Overstay. You know, it's all fight. It's all a different fight we have to take.
I think somebody asked a specific question about the visa application fee. Whether
yes.
I think was it on the YouTube?
Yes,
it was somewhere. It might be on YouTube.
I think, yes.
So there's someone asking many people working in aged care and home care as casuals and part-time contracts. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah, everyone should be included. Olivia the Princess, Paji immigration new visa which pichli pay kitti fee include karugi. So this person is asking if the previous application fees will be included. So okay, as a licensed immigration advisor, I'm allowed to give you this information, and also it's a publicly available information, anyone can. So Olivia, ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ SMC ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ expression of interest ਲਗਾਇਆ ਸੀ ਔਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਨਵਾਈਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ, ਸੋ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ SMC ਦੀ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਅਗਰ ਲੱਗੀ ਹੋਈ ਆ ਤਾਂ 1 ਦਸੰਬਰ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਵਾਲੇ ਵੀਜ਼ੇ ਲਈ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਉਹ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਫੀਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈਣਗੇ। ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਵੀਜ਼ਾ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਡਿਸਾਈਡ ਹੋਊਗੀ ਉਦੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਐਡਜਸਟ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਫੀਸ। ਜਾਂ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ EOI ਲਾਈ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਪਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਨਵੀਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਇਆ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਔਰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਆ 17 ਸਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਉਮਰ ਦਾ, ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਉਹੀ ਸਿਚੁਏਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਡਿਸੀਜਨ ਦਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਆਊਗਾ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਐਡਜਸਟ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਫੀਸ। ਪਰ ਹੋਰ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮਾਰਚ ਵਾਲੇ ਬੈਚ ਚਲਾਉਣੀ ਆ 1 ਮਾਰਚ ਵਾਲੇ 'ਚ ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਕੋਈ ਪ੍ਰੋਵੀਜ਼ਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ। ਸੋ ਦੈਟਸ ਦੀ ਆਨਸਰ ਫॉर दैट।
Jayant, you said I do not see any hope from the Indian government. We don't think so.
We got to keep trying.
We got to keep trying, because we tried before. That's how we got 165,000.
I have not recovered my tuition fee due to COVID. That's really unfortunate. There are so many stories like that.
I think we'll probably can answer to this question later on.
So
tomorrow
So there are so many people that are hurt by this. So tomorrow we will be live again from 7 p.m. till around 8 p.m. Now there's a Facebook group that I think Rachel and a few others started. There were a lot of people on there claiming that Migrant Workers Association and FAM have not really been doing much at all ever since this visa was announced or generally. So while I don't feel that we have to go and justify ourselves all the time, now I don't want to sound arrogant or big-headed either, but I think people know what we do and what we don't do. And so I'm not going to sit here and go through the list of things that we've done or the list of things we have not done and achievements that we've made in the last 10, 12 years. So what I thought was the best thing to do was, obviously people are frustrated, people are hurting. So the best thing, given the current lockdown restrictions, the best thing we can do is keep talking to each other. So I thought, okay, let's get together and publicly share the stories and share our concerns. And if people want to make that claim publicly from this platform that, we are absolutely useless and have not done anything, please do. That does not bother us in the least, because we don't do this work to please anyone. We don't do this work because we have to. This is a volunteer-based organization, and all the people that we work with, whether they are from Unite Union or other unions, FAM, AAAP, people like Rachel, this is all volunteer work. We do this because we feel passionate about other human beings.
Justice.
And justice and equality in this society. That's why we do it. I know in this dog-eat-dog world, you probably think, oh, she's bullshitting. You probably think she's just making it up. I know the belief out there is like, no one lifts a finger unless they've got some personal gain in it. People are free to believe that, but we do this because we want to see a better society. And like I said, this is our time and our passion. So based on that, you have absolute freedom to think whatever, hold whatever opinions you like. So tomorrow, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m., we've already got quite a large group who want to share. So after that, I think the demand will still be there. So we see ourselves doing this work for a little time to come, because at the moment we can't protest. Protests are usually an outlet for people's frustration, their anger, and it's therapy, it's counseling. So we thought this is maybe the next best thing we can do given the circumstances. I guess we'll say goodbye on that note.
ਸੁਰਿੰਦਰ ਖੀਵਾ ਭਾਜੀ ਨੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਵੈਲ ਡਨ ਭੇਜਿਆ, ਧੰਨਵਾਦ
ਜੀ, ਸ਼ੁਕਰੀਆ ਭਾਜੀ।
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਹਿੰਦੁਸਤਾਨ 'ਚ ਯੂਨੀਅਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਾਥੀ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉੱਥੇ ਯੂਨੀਅਨ ਦੀ ਗੁੜਤੀ ਲੱਗੀ ਹੋਈ ਆ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਸੰਘਰਸ਼ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਸ ਮੁਲਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਸੋ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਸੁਰਿੰਦਰ ਖੀਵਾ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ।
All right, we will sign off on that note and see you all again tomorrow, 7 p.m. Goodbye.